Hello and welcome to our next video within the CIMA E3 Enterprise Strategy syllabus. Just to remind you, all those videos are based on our Express notes, which you can download from www.theexpgroup.com. Within this video, we will discuss the issue of what can businesses do to grow, to increase in size of their operations. And we will base our analysis on a matrix developed by Ansoff, the product and market matrix. Please turn to page 20 of the notes, where this matrix is actually reproduced. Now, what it shows is that if you want to stay within the range of your existing products, and you want to stay on your existing market, you have to follow the strategy of market penetration. You simply have to sell more to your existing customers or the customers in your existing market. Now, if you want to stay in your existing market but come up with new products, then the strategy will be called product development. On the other hand, if you want to sell your existing products but on the markets you've not been to, then it's going to be a market development strategy. And finally, the most risky of all these, to sell new products in new markets. This one will be called diversification. Now, what all these mean in practice is shown on page 21 of those notes. So first, you've got the market penetration strategy. What do you need to do? Well, you have a number of options. Well, first of all, you can increase the market share. Or maybe you already have a significant market share. So secure your dominance on the growing market. Because if the market grows, your sales will grow, the organization will grow. If you're a dominant entity in that market, that's going to drive your sales. You may try to get rid of your competitors. Or you may try to increase the frequency that the customers buy your products. Now, obviously, there are ways of doing each of those, but remember, all of those actions fall under the definition of market penetration. You want to sell more products, more of your existing products in your existing market. How can you increase your market share? Obviously, you can reduce your prices. You can make aggressive advertising or aggressive sales. All of that can lead to an increase in the market share. There may be other ways, which we will discuss later on. How can you get rid of competitors? Again, you may promote your goods, or you can make their life miserable. But to do that, you need to be really big and rich. Increasing the frequency of purchases, well, obviously the loyalty schemes are meant to do that. Now, if you want to sell your existing products in the new market, then you will follow the strategy of market development. And what can you do then? Obviously, you can go to a new geographic area. You have an excellent product, it sells well in your country or in your market, so just wrap it in a new way, put the name of it in a different language, and go to your neighboring country. You can do it if you believe it sold well in your country, it will sell well in the neighboring country. You go there and sell it there. You may also change your product just a little bit, just repackage your product to sell it in a different market or market segment. Now, as an example of this, take the example of a car industry and what Kia does very often. Now they have a model called Venga and another one called Soul. Technologically speaking, they are the same cars. Just the steel was formed in a different way. But the engine, the gearbox, the suspension, they're all the same. The cars just look differently because they're meant for different market segments. So you can have nearly the same product sold in 2 markets. You can also follow the product development strategy. You are good at something, you have a market, a loyal client base. Now, can you offer another product to them? Very often, that is done through something called brand stretching. If you're an expert in manufacturing washing machines, why not make a dishwasher now and offer it to all the people that have your washing machines already and are happy with them? Now, who is an expert at this? Well, I'm sure you know the company called Daimler, I guess. But they manufacture Mercedes-Benz cars. And in the old days, back in the 80s, Mercedes cars were a nice, reasonably posh car. And what they figured out there is that, people who drive Mercedes, they also have spouses and kids who do not drive Mercedes because, having 2 posh cars is usually too much. But they have a very good recognition of the brand. And therefore, maybe we could offer those people some other products. And then they came up with the idea of the A-class and B-class cars. First A-class and then B-class. They also came with an idea of smart, which was just too early for its times. But anyway, A's and B's were a huge success. Finally, you can follow the strategy of diversification, the riskiest of all the strategies, because you enter with new products into new markets. Now you have to be really sure you want to be in that market. You have to know that the game is played under different rules in that market, and therefore you have to change your ways and offer different products. All right? But again, sticking to the examples of the car manufacturers, they do it. They do it. Take the example of Volkswagen again. And in China, they sell cars which are totally different from the cars they sell in Europe and Americas. And that is because they are usually the old types of cars no longer used in Europe, no longer sold in Europe and Americas. But they do it. They knew China must be addressed in some way. They knew the mass market in China cannot afford the regular cars. They knew there are no environmental regulations that would require certain technological features to be installed in the cars. So all they did was they offered different products. They offered the old models, the old types of cars there. Now, methods of expansion. Actually, all the strategies we discussed, all the 4 strategies, can be affected using those methods. They do not relate to one particular strategy from that list. They can be applied in a number of situations. An organization may grow organically, obviously. They may sell more, have more salespeople, more distribution channels. But they can also grow by acquisitions. You can grow by acquisition in your own country, in your own territory, by acquiring your competitors, or you may enter new markets by acquiring entities that operate there. Or you may extend your product base by acquiring companies that manufacture something you want to manufacture. In certain regulated industries, it's difficult to merge or acquire someone. The best example of that is obviously airline industry. Countries usually own airlines, the states, and they don't want to get rid of it. So it's difficult to acquire an airline. However, you can enter into a strategic alliance with them and work together. Finally, if you want to enter a different market, which you know nothing about, one of the ways would be to take your business model and sell it as a franchise there. You will get a local who knows everything about the local market, and you will just spread your brand in that new market.